Welcome to our PTO community meeting, our first one of the year. I will entertain a motion to begin the meeting, because we do have sort of official things, processes that we follow.
Second.
I will entertain a motion to start. Thank you. Second. We have executive committee meetings between these sessions where we do a lot of like the decision making and all that kind of stuff. We operate a little bit differently than the school board does. And so this meeting is really about sharing information with you guys. In a future community meeting, we may have votes because we have big things that we're trying to do this year. We'll also have votes if there's any type of elections that would need to happen. That'll be in April or May. But for today, it's really about us giving you the opportunity to hear what's been going on, get involved, share some feedback that you may have, and just get involved with ISLA. I know many of you already have been in various ways, whether with the board, with the building, or with the PTO already. So during our time together today, and I want to welcome the people that are online as well, we're going to share a little bit of an update on what we've been able to get done in the last couple of months. We're going to talk about some key things that we're in the middle of doing. We're going to hear from Molly and Heidi to represent the executive team and the board. Millen's here to help share some information around our fundraising that's going on throughout the year, but especially what's happening right now as we speak. We'll also talk about some of the grade squad projects that have already been finished and the ones that are coming up, and we'll have some time to have some Q&A. Those of you in the room, feel free to get up and find a little bowl, get some noshing things. If you're on live, go ahead and use the chat. We do have the ability to read your questions, and yeah, looking forward to it. All right. So first of all, I'd like to share. My name is Bob Sparkins. I'm the president of the PTO chair of the parent-teacher organization. Our organization is parents and teachers and abuelos and anybody in the community that's really interested in supporting the school. By being connected to the school, you are a member of the PTO. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay any dues. You don't have to do anything except be connected to ISLA. Now, what that does, though, is it means that we need to invite you to be more committed as a member of PTO to get involved. And those that have been involved have accomplished a great deal over the last couple of months. We're having this meeting November the 20th, and there has been an enormous amount that we've already accomplished and much more to come. The first is based on last year's fundraising and activities and interviews and all the cool stuff. We have 12 language ambassadors at the school this year. Many from Spain, one from Mexico. We got 2 from Colombia and 1 from El Salvador. I think the previous record was 10, and usually it's around 7 or 8. It costs about $9,500 per LA to bring them here, and so having 12 is phenomenal. And I asked Molly, is it too many? And she's like, give me more. So we have a great crew this year, and I'm sure that we're going to have another great crew in years to come. We've also done quite a few activities for community building and for helping the teachers out. We had a great back-to-school luncheon. Jen and her team catered the back-to-school for the staff, which was amazing. We had a Yahoo Boohoo event all throughout the year from the beginning. We've had uniform exchange and the Spirit Store. Elizabeth Sundahl has been leading the charge on that, doing a tremendous job. We've also done a Great Wolf Lodge takeover, and there was 390 people that came from the ISLA community. Many of you in this room went to that. And thanks to one of our grade squad people, Therese, for doing that. We also have a native garden that's outside that looks like nothing yet, but next spring, it's gonna be amazing. Brian Rooney's wife, Jen, and Therese also worked on that. We have, we have like 35, 40 people that came out to help plant, and kids. It was a lot. A good opportunity for the IB nature of our school and the kids to be involved and that kind of thing. Many of the grade squad leaders and parent ambassadors helped the teachers organize class parties, and that seemed to go over really well depending on the grade. They did a tremendous job of either coordinating, or they did a tremendous job of keeping the kids engaged during the class parties. I'll let you guys report on that a little bit later if you want to share. And there's more class parties coming up at the end of December, but evidently they're kind of low key for the winter party. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Of course, we had Dia de los Muertos just 2 weeks ago. Tremendously popular event, a lot of involvement. Joni, you had what, like 50 volunteers, I think, the day of or the couple days before. A lot of stuff that went down well for that. Challenging in some parts. There's going to be a debriefing tomorrow, I think, that you guys are doing. But really a cool way to get the community together, right? An opportunity for us to celebrate the cultures that are infused inside of ISLA, pay respect to that in our ISLA fashion. We've also given out some stipends to teachers. So as a board, we were able to look at our budget and say every classroom teacher can have up to $300 to spend in ways that the normal administrative budget wouldn't support. Irina, do you happen to know how many teachers have taken advantage of that so far, the $300 stipend?
I would say around 10.
Around 10 so far. And so the other 10 are going to hopefully take us up on that as well. And then we're also going to talk as a board about whether or not we can extend that to some of the non-classroom groups like RTI or special education and so forth. And of course, we had conference day goodies and the abuelos, and many people are serving lunch to our kids on a daily basis. 5 people this year per day, Jorge is asking for. So we increase our volunteer request by 25%. December is filled except for 3 slots. Not 3 days, 3 slots. That's amazing. And it's only November 20th. We don't even know it's going to be served yet for December, which is great. And this year with the way we've done grade squads, the individual grades are trying to fuel as much of those signups for that lunch period as they can. The abuelos are trying to race them to fill a lot of spots as well. And it's bringing a lot of good community connection together with everybody. Now, I want to take a break for just a moment, and I'm going to hand it over to Molly. As part of our PTO community meetings, we do have a request of their attendance, but also their update. They do a lot more updates at the board meeting, so both Molly and Heidi have a few things to share, but they're giving you the very Reader's Digest version, and they're going to point you to some resources to get along. Okay, so if you will come up, I have a camera here that can see.
Excellent. Hi, everybody online. That was exactly what I was going to say, Bob, is that if you're really excited to dig into more of these updates, so the academic updates, the social emotional updates, the operational and financial updates, come to the board meeting, or you can check on our website in the board notes. Every month I do an executive director update, and it covers those 3 main areas. So academic, social emotional, behavioral, and operations. So that's kind of the best way to stay really current. We'll do board elections in January too. So if that's something that you're really excited about, you might think about joining the board. Again, we have both our ISLA board, which governs the school, and then the PTO board here that governs the extra activities here, our LA program, everything. I know that can be kind of confusing at first, but so our annual report was approved by the board this month at our meeting. It's linked on our website in our school section, so it kind of covers some of those successes. Again, we remain above the state by about 10 to 15 percentage points in reading and math. It's really exciting. Our English learners, so students who qualify for specific services learning English, scored 30 percentage points higher than the state average for progress towards their goals. So that was a huge success. Our team is doing a lot in the academic realm. We have new curriculum for reading in kindergarten and first grade. We're super excited about that. The teachers are like buzzing with excitement. They're like, come and see our kids read. Like, they're doing so well. They're learning all the things. And so hopefully you've been experiencing it at home if you have a kindergartner or first grader. Similarly, we're working really hard with our intervention program. We now have our 2 what I need or win blocks throughout the day. So if kids need extra support or extra challenge, that's built into the schedule so that they're not missing other core classes. So we're really hoping that's going to have a big impact, and also just structurally having that schedule that supports kids and what they need. Social emotionally, you might have checked out our care room next door here. It's really neat. Our social emotional team has been doing both lessons in classrooms, working with teachers. All of our teachers have had conscious discipline training, and our new teachers have an extra Thursday morning cohort where they're really digging into conscious discipline and what that looks like. It's really relational. So instead of like a punishment or you're sent outside or whatnot, it's really about like building skills, building connection. And then kids who might need a sensory break or an extra emotional need during the day, there's a real dedicated space for it. And so I think kids have shown like a ton of love for it, and they get really excited. And I've had some kids be like, well, I only went there when the practice day, but I've never needed it because I'm really doing a great job, and really trying to normalize that we'll all need social emotional support sometimes, and that's a good thing. And then some kids might need just a little bit more of an extra planned support for that. So again, there's more in our monthly updates from the board. Financially, we've been doing a really good job, I think, connecting between PTO and the school board. So our treasurer, board chair, fundraising folks from the school, and then the same type of rules from the PTO, Bob and Millen and Irina and Risa have been meeting together to kind of coordinate our efforts and hopefully clarify, hey, when you're giving money to the school, here are the things it's supporting. When you're giving money to PTO, here are the things it's supporting. The LA program has been phenomenal. Having the 12 LAs really allows us to have LAs in every single grade. So we have our 5 kindergarten sections that all have full-time LA support. And then first grade has 2 LAs, which was huge for them. They're so appreciative. It's a really, really big change for them from last year. And there's only the 3 sections of first grade, so almost the full day, or 2/3 of their day, if you will. They have LA supports. We have 2 LAs in second grade. And then we have 1 in 3rd grade, 1 in 4th grade, and 1 in 5th grade. So really every grade is able to be served, which is amazing. And so teachers really feel that impact. One of the things we're working on right now is that fall strategic survey for families. You might have seen the Dalmatians photo on Parent Square. So I hope if you haven't done your parent survey that you'll give us your feedback. This was one quick snapshot. It really does help us both the aggregate feedback of like, how are things going overall? This was like, how does the quality of instruction your child receives feeling, 5 being the highest. So we're feeling like pretty good overall, but also those individual comments that say, hey, like we'd love for progress reports to be a little clearer. Yes, we agree. And that's something we're really working on for next year. So most people don't love the progress reports as they are now. I don't love them as a mom. And so, all right, we have a teacher leadership team that's really trying to be thoughtful about how to roll out the next iteration of what those look like. I could keep talking, but if you really love to hear that talking, come to the board meeting. We'll meet again in December. You can also tune in online. You don't have to come live, but really appreciate the collaboration and the chance to share a little bit more with you today.
Thanks, Molly. One quick question.
Yeah.
Your deadline for the fall survey?
You know, I don't have one yet. At some point, I'll unpin it from the top, but it will never close. So if you want to find it, you're welcome to it.
Awesome. So now I'd like to have Heidi Estrada come up as the chair of the ISLA board.
Thank you. Right. So yeah, Molly kind of touched on a little bit of what the board does. We're a separate organization from the PTO board, but we work hand in hand throughout the year. We meet Tuesdays, 1 Tuesday a month typically. It's been the 2nd Tuesday of the month, and we're just switching our board meeting cadence, and it'll be almost always the 4th Tuesday of the month going forward. That was done to allow us to have like more accurate and timely financial reports ready for our board meeting. Right now we're a couple months behind, and now we'll just be reviewing the previous month's finances. The finance committee has grown a ton. We've had a lot of new parents, grandparents join with like honestly the most amazing finance experience that we've ever had. So it's really great. Some people have been working in specifically charter school finance as their career, and now they're part of our finance committee. So we're really excited about that. We've been doing some board training. We just finished a really interactive International Baccalaureate training with Sarah Devers, who's leading our school's IB review. And then we'll have a finance one coming up in January that our finance committee is going to put on for us. Other than that, typical real fun stuff, policy refinement. We have to keep up with the laws that come out, and there's some requirements on when we need to revise our policies. So far this year, we've looked at purchasing and procurement policies, transportation, language access, and then our discipline dismissal policy will be coming up for review in the next couple months. And the only other thing that I thought would be exciting, these are the exciting things that I've read, was our transportation boundary planning. We, when we moved here, we came from the Hopkins School District, and we bused the Hopkins School District. And then when we moved to Edina, we had to add the Edina School District, because as a charter school, you're required to bus the district that you live in, or you know what I mean. And we also added Minneapolis, but we stopped at 494. And as I'm sure a lot of you know, we have a ton of families from Bloomington. So we've been really carefully planning how to move our busing out of Hopkins without doing a disservice to the families, to our legacy families, while also including our new families. So we were able to expand this year a bus into Bloomington. And then we are looking forward to planning future busing updates and getting as many buses as fast as possible into Bloomington without disadvantaging current families. So yeah, like Molly said, come on over to a board meeting if you want. It's really riveting. You can come for a short time, pop in, pop out. If there's something on the agenda that you want to hear, you can just stay for that and leave. We won't be offended. But we'd love to see you there. So thank you.
Can I add one more? We're kind of joined here. Our updates are similar and shared. But I think like the big financial headline news was that this year we made that decision to invest in a 4th specialist. So we have art, music, exploración, and physical education full time, which is awesome. And those programs have been amazing. I think 2 years ago we added a full-time social worker. And then when I came in, we did a little bit of that org structure at the top. So having director of intervention and director of student well-being. So we have a lot of positions, and this is the first year that our budget is not a deficit. So when we moved to this building, it was a deficit budget for many, many years. This year is our first year where it's not a deficit budget, which is really exciting, but we're also really working to build up our fund balance, and especially our fund balance in Fund 1, the general fund. So a lot of the fundraising that we're doing as a school and that we do together helps support the sense like we need, we really want to keep those 4 specialists, the social worker, that social emotional support, but also we need to keep growing our fund balance. So I think the overall health of the school looks positive, and there's an imperative to keep our fundraising goals significant. This gets a little technical, but we were building a lot of money in our Fund 4, which is our like Aventuras preschool summer camp. So it's our community service fund, has a lot of money in it. And we were really dwindling our Fund 1, which is our general education funds. We were able to work with this finance committee, so really exciting, to change the chargeback, because basically all of our Fund 4 programs, we can't charge them rent, but they're using our building for quite a bit of time. And so with some of that kind of technical accounting maneuver, we're now able to build it helps swing a lot more money over to Fund 1. And so now we're continuing to build up Fund 1 because that's the money that we can use for things like teachers and classroom supplies, and if the HVAC breaks or things like that. So again, if that interests you, please come. It's definitely one of those things where fundraising is still really critical to doing all the things that we really want to do and think are important for our kids to have a holistic education.
Yes, and on that, kudos to Molly, because finding ways to use Fund 4. So the way it works is Fund 1 is our general fund that you can use to pay teachers, you can use it for interventionists, etc. Fund 4 can only be used on those community fund things. And if there's a deficit in Fund 1, so if we were like negative $100,000 in Fund 1 and we had $10 million in Fund 1, we can't pay ourselves from that fund. It's like it just sits there. And so finding ways like allocating it correctly, she did a ton of math to figure out just exactly how much, because you have to be able to prove it too, right? Just exactly how much our Fund 4 activities are using of our building, and getting those percentages updated and corrected so that we can move it into the general fund. And then that fund balance is just basically like how much of, like if you have a $10,000 budget, you need to have, 15% of that sitting in a reserve, like kind of a rainy day fund. And it's not just like because we want it, it's a requirement of our authorizer, and it's kind of like a temperature of the health of our finances. So that when she talks about getting our fund balance up, I think we're like sitting at like 5% maybe.
Yeah, it's probably less than that. So our bank account is low, and we want to make sure
our
that
Fund 1 rainy day fund is low. We have
a lot of
cash because of Fund 4. That's kind of like making that not dangerous, but we really need to get that up. So that's why you'll see us, making some of the decisions that we do and being really careful about spending. But also kudos to Molly for really reorganizing. When she came in, we had 2 administrators. I think you remember we had barely enough support staff for special education and response to intervention. And now we have like a blooming administration. I mean, how many admin are 9 or something? 8?
We have 8 different people who work with program development in some kind of a way, yeah.
Yeah, and we have RTI, the intervention folks at each grade level, so they really get to know your kids. They really work to get to know the curriculum too, and they can do intervention that's really helpful. And all of that with a budget savings.
You're never gonna invite us back. We'll love to talk. We don't want to say.
But anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much, Heidi and Polly. I also want to take this opportunity to introduce you to the board members that are here from the ISLA's PTO school board. Not ISLA's PTO school board, ISLA PTO board. So going across on the slide deck, we have Katie Owens is here, our PTO secretary. If she doesn't know your name yet, please let her know who you are, because she's probably going to take attendance of who's here. We've got Jen McGuff over here as our events chair. We got Milan Schroff over here is a fundraising chair. We got Raisa Montoro in Peru for the next few months as our co-treasurer. We've got Irina Rock-Gilbertson here today as our other co-treasurer. Michelle Nunez is not able to join us this evening, but she is our LA Families person. We have Stewin Bernal on the staff who does a lot of LA stuff, and the family coordination is done by Michelle. And then Joni Taylor is our volunteer coordinator. And if you've been involved in something so far this year, I'm sure you probably have connected with Joni. All right, so Treasurer's report. As part of our community meetings, we also want to make sure that you're up to speed on the finances of the PTO. And I'm going to share a few of those updates, and then Irina's going to make sure I've covered everything that we wanted to share. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. But we do have 2 treasurers this year, which is awesome, and they are doing a phenomenal job. They are taking a look at past stuff, keeping us on track with our trend lines and all that kind of stuff. You can review the documents that we have for the approved budget, and as we update our status along the way throughout the year, if you go to pto.isla.school/docs. Okay, and I'll show you some screenshots of what you would see. We're not going to dig into the full spreadsheet tonight, but I want you to see a couple things. I will also mention that we started the year really healthy with a balance sheet of $147,000, thanks in large part to the successful fundraising that we did in years past. Last year's chair, Jenna Moretto, the other team members did a good job fundraising. I know many of you were involved last year, as was I. You know that there's a lot that's happened if you've been here more than a year in the fundraising camp. Our current bank balance is 105. We had the largest expense of our year come out in October, which is our Amity fee. So every language ambassador has a fee that we have to pay. We don't pay for the 12th LA, that's the Spanish government, but 11 of the LAs have a $2,000 bill that we have to pay at the beginning of the year. So our trend line is a little steep because of that, but you'll see that we're in pretty good shape. And because we started the year at 147,000 and we've been accruing kind of like the schools fund for, we've accrued a little bit more than we really needed to accrue for the health of our PTO. We can bring that down a little bit and still feel very comfortable and exciting. That being said, we always want to have a good cushion for rainy days or bad economics or whatever the case is. So we did approve and then modified and approved a $15,000 deficit for this year. So if we finish the year then at around $125,000, $130,000, we're feeling like we're in pretty good shape. Okay. The spreadsheet that you'll see if you go online will show you where our revenues come from, and you'll be able to see the updated approved budget on the right, what we're currently tracking towards, and the year-to-date percentage of what we've actually received. Okay, so you'll notice that the year-to-date for things like Give to the Max, which started today, we're doing a little different name of it, but that's at 0. But our Spirit Store sales, which is actually now $9,400, I think, after we get a check from our platform in December, is way up because we're doing some really neat things thanks to the work of Elizabeth Sundahl. Millen's been working some cool magic there too. We used a new platform. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. So that's the revenue number, and we are hoping to get at that 195 level. So that's all revenue that comes in. So anything that we receive, even if it's going to go immediately out, it's still counted, obviously, for the counting purposes. Then we have the expenses, and there's a lot more categories of these because we want to divide it up into ways that make sense. Again, you'll see that the most expensive things are related to the LAs. The LA program on its own for 12 LAs is about $120,000 out of our 100 and well, I think we're up to 200 for what we think that we'll wind up spending. But that's the big thing. That's the core mission of the PTO, right? Is to support the LA program, to bring the 12 folks in. If we can increase it more next year, I wouldn't count on it. Molly just said it. But the request is heard. We also have things like field trips, which is not the staff one, but there's a students' field trips. We've allocated $8,800 or $8,100 to help bring down the cost of field trips across the board. So you may have seen a note that said, hey, your field trip has been dropped because of the PTO, and it was like $3. Well, that's $3 for everybody and for as many of the field trips as we can do. In the years past, we supported a couple of families with sort of a scholarship approach. And this year we wanted to help everybody else, help everybody out. The people that needed that extra help already get some of that extra help from other programs. So if you have any questions about any of these allocations of funds, please do let me know, let Arena or Raisa know. Anyone on the board probably can speak to it, but if you want to know like how the numbers are adding it up, all that stuff like that, the treasurers are going to likely be your best fit. The Spirit Store merchandise is going to be a little bit different this year because in years past, we would have an online order system with our vendor, and the only money we saw was after the purchases were paid for through the vendor's supply chain. So if we saw a check for $1,500, they saw the $4,000 or whatever it was. Well, now we see the $4,000 in pre-order, but now we have to buy all the things. But it's going to add to about 25% margin to the way we do Spirit Store, which is awesome. But if you're looking at that expense, that's why, because we are buying inventory or pre-ordering, as you saw on Zephy earlier this year, and that means we are then buying all the supplies of things that'll come out of our balance sheet that didn't in years past. Okay, and we didn't know that when we made the first budget, so that's why that's a little bit different. And that's it. That's for that. The total revenue, profits and stuff like that are on there. I will say that we've been doing a good job, I feel, at trying to stretch your dollars as best as possible. So this year we switched over to GiveButter. The school is already on it. We have our own account. Now we have the same system, so everybody's familiar with the same thing. This saves at least 4 to 8% on things like Give to the Max, which charges 8% to either the donors or to the organization, plus $400 for an organization of our size. Our November campaign doesn't have that kind of cost. Also, our Give Smart, which we used for Fiesta the last couple of years, cost us about $3,200 just for the annual thing. And transaction fees and all that kind of stuff. So by using GiveButter for that, we're going to have a much lower cost. That means our profits for Fiesta will be higher. As I mentioned, Zephy is a platform for taking online orders. And then Elizabeth gets that, has a spreadsheet, and she gives it to the same company we bought from before. But now we get the scale of, we get to order mass amounts of the clothes. And so the price per unit is down. And we get to keep more of our money because if they do the order process, they charge an extra fee for that. At US Bank, we have a $50,000 CD, which expires or renews in December. I think we'll probably go ahead and use it for a couple months and then renew it again in March after we have Fiesta's money start to come in. But that's giving us, a couple percents on 50K, which is a nice added perk to our bottom line. We've also been chasing down our software tools, nonprofit pricing. In years past, either that was done or it wasn't done, but we're making sure as many of them as we can get nonprofit pricing for, we are able to do that. So like Webflow, half price. I think our Xero account got to be, I think we looked at that and got cheaper for accounting software. Zoom, we got a half off, et cetera. So little things, but they do make your dollars stretch quite nicely. Any questions quickly about the budget and the treasurer's report while Irina's here to answer your questions? And then did I miss anything? Irina says no for the record keeping of those of you. Okay, again, so the place to go look at that if you want to dig a little deeper, pto.isla.school/docs. That's where you'll also see our bylaws, our meeting minutes, and that kind of stuff. fundraising. I'm gonna ask Millen to come up to help me talk about some things that's going on. I don't remember, we didn't get a chance to chat ahead of time of which ones you'd like to talk about. Do you want to chat on this at all, or do you want to?
I can go ahead on this. I'll talk about the LA.
Okay, great. So far, we raised about $5,500 for Class Fiesta fees, which was a higher percentage of the number of students than the years past. We then supplemented it so that every student's $15, whether they had paid it or not. We did go ahead and pay it. Initially, we weren't sure that we were going to do that, but then we were able to look at the numbers and make it so. The Spirit Store, as I mentioned, the gross sales are much higher than they've been in years past, which is awesome. We're not going to have a lot more Spirit Store sales for the next couple of months because this is kind of a slowish season for that. But in April, when we have kinder orientation, we'll have another spike. And there's a couple things I'm sure that we'll think of along the way. Our fall extracurriculars brought in about $6,000. We're going to do the next set of extracurriculars in starting December 1st. We hope to get more than that, obviously, each time. Now that people know the LAs, they're going to want to take the classes. But we had at least 10 people in every LA extracurricular, which is awesome. In years past, we haven't had that across the board popularity. And we also had like basketball, I think was 23 or something like that. So really good group of LAs, and brings in good money. The extracurriculars, all that money that you pay to have your kid come to a club that is from the PTO comes directly to the PTO. This is part of the agreement with the LAs. They don't receive any stipend for that. It's just part of their arrangement with what they are doing here and what they get paid generally. It doesn't come out of this fund. Okay. Other than we're raising money so we can pay that. You want to speak to this one? Did you say?
No.
Okay. This one's scary. So as Heidi mentioned and Molly, we've been collaborating with the school's fundraising committee. It helps we have treasurers who are married to each other, which is kind of nice. But also we really saw the last few years, as I'm sure many of you did, it gets crowded, right? We have needs. We're charter school, the state's budget, the federal budget, like things are out of whack. And so we definitely need to raise money. The PTO gets no funding other than from parent donations or business donations. And so we need to raise money. In years past, we've had something going on every single month, sometimes multiple things. And we got together and said, what if we could converge a goal, make sure people knew the goal, make sure people knew when you pay to PTO, as Molly said, things go to LAs, things go to community events. When you pay to the school, it helps pay for specialists, it helps pay for facility stuff. And if we cannot step on each other's toes too much, people can breathe in between fundraisers. And that means they can be smart about what they want to invest in. They can be mindful of where they want to allocate their dollars. And we don't have the donation fatigue that we've had in years past. And so we have other ways that we raise money, like Spirit Store, extracurriculars, et cetera, that are on this map. But these that are here, these are the three things that we're doing that are like specifically give us money, right? As opposed to here's some cool stuff and we're going to make some money from it, right? Same thing with the school. They had a very successful Obsta-Jog. You're going to see a joint letter from the board and from us coming for like end of year giving for tax purposes, getting corporate matches, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we have our big fiesta. We'll talk about the Dave & Buster's play cards, too, in a bit. But what you're not going to see is a bunch of little pop-up things. Like we're trying to rein in any kind of, oh, we should do a fundraiser about this. Sometimes it works. It's necessary. But we're trying to avoid that as much as possible. We do reserve the right in April or May to say we're short and we need to do something. But we're trying to be very mindful, again, and coordinate with the school about all that. Okay? So with that, Mill.
Okay, so Bob said that in a nicer manner, but so I'm Millen Schroff, fundraising chair, PTO. I have one kid in kinder, so this is my first time being part of the PTO of the school. All this, so thank you. And all this is, it's brand new. I'm trying to learn. The biggest thing I hear is that it's all, everything that you've seen here today, everything's through volunteers almost, right? So when we talk about these campaigns, just for the money part, there's still a lot of people that need a volunteer to make things happen. Michelle, who's not here right now, but you talk to her for like 30 seconds, it just blows your mind at the amount of things she's coordinating in her head and through Excel sheets of all the LAs that are there. So So Bob put this in a nice way. I think we also have that the Applebee's one. That's the community event that has a part of that fundraiser there. But really, I look at this and it's less events means give more money is what I would translate that to. So that's different from last time, I get it, but this is the time for us to really concentrate on the LA's part. I didn't know what the LA's were. I kept saying LA, LA, LA. So language ambassadors, college educated people coming from around the world to help our teachers reduce that teacher to student ratio that's there, right? So they're there, you talk to your kids, they know their names, they love them, they're great. And that's where we're gonna ask for money today through, I think, December 2nd. So you've seen a newsletter go off for that. So please, I know most of you here are already part of other committees. So my only ask is that you talk to others, like just commit to talking to a few other people to ask and say, hey, have you donated? They're gonna say, well, I donated OPS-JOG, or how many more are there of these events? There aren't too many more here. We really have reduced it down quite a bit. So OPS-JOG was to help with the school, the facilities, the arts, the music. This is to help with the LAs and the other activities that are all volunteer ran. So that's what I want to keep putting out there, is that a lot of people volunteer their time. If you're thinking I don't do that, and again, this is not to you all because you're all here, but this goes to the other people. You have your friends. Whenever I'm talking to other kinder parents and they, oh yeah, at their meeting, I didn't read that. I don't even have parents where. So that's fine. Just open up your app. I need to just go scan this QR code, donate some money right now, and then we're all good. So that's the biggest way, right? A direct donation of cash is going to help with our LAs. That's our program. And then let us, the volunteers, people that are really passionate about it, let us take over and stretch your dollars by doing, like you were talking about, so 8% to 4%, we're looking at 3% to 1% or 0%. We're looking at just small amounts, spending a lot of time to reduce fees, to stretch the dollars that everyone donates in. So don't think that we're taking your money and then just spending it, splurging it. We are trying to stretch it as much as we can. We just need those actual dollars. Just don't think about parents only. So family members, I know the abuelas here as well, like talk to your grandparents, talk to your family members and friends. Sometimes they'll donate, it can be any amount, even $5, not a big deal. But they might feel involved and they might want to be a part of it. So don't choose that for them to say, well, I don't want to burden them with something. Just let them make the choice. I'm going to be pushing company match programs here. I think we've looked at the historical piece of that, and hopefully with the school board with Naomi, and Naomi will do the same thing on that side and kind of coordinate. But every donation, because we're officially a 501c3, can be matched if your company does it. And I think the stat is like 86% of people don't do that. Number one, they either don't know your company does it, or two, they don't know how. So if you do donate and you put your company name in there in the notes, or you just say there's a contact me button and you want me to talk to you, then I will help you, right? As much as you want. We can sit down at a bar or something. You can bring your laptop, I'll help you out. Or you can call me and say, does my company match? And if so, how can I get it to happen, right? It's super easy. It's free money that's going to help your school, help your kids, help the LA program. So check that out. Don't sleep on that, I would say. Check your donation. And if this is your donation for the entire year, not just the LA program. So all the other times that you've donated money, subtracted the gift value that comes out of that, you can donate that piece. And I'll show you how to do that if you want help on that. But my ask for you all is to talk to your other peers and ask them, does your company match? Especially if it's the big ones, Target, General Mills, Best Buy, Medtronic, all those ones. Let them know that they probably do match. And we're going to work on getting better at that, but just remind them and then tell them to contact me for it. The last piece is the volunteer matching programs. So some companies, including the company I work for, will match my volunteer hours. So I get $10 per hour volunteered up to a certain amount. So it's right now, it's like, if Bob keeps talking after this, maybe $15 worth we'll get right there. But in all seriousness, right, I get up to a $500 match just for volunteering at anything I do. And I can push those funds to whichever nonprofit I want, which I've chosen already. So those are easy ways to get money if we know how and if we look at it. And if you don't think your company does that, or you work for a company that, I don't want to say smaller companies. Smaller companies also do it. Just ask your friends, ask your peers, ask your other parents to just think about it. That's it. Bobby, I'll take back over. All right.
Thank you, Millen. And to emphasize one other point that Millen just mentioned about the donations for the company match, most companies need you to submit before December 31st. If you submit on January 1st, you have lost the opportunity for the previous year. So it's really important to do that now. And please do take Millen up on his offer to help you with that. Wooden Hill's just down the street, or Full Tilt, we can make a big party of it at some point. So I wanted to share some other upcoming fundraising efforts that we're doing. Some of these you've already heard about in the newsletter that Katie put out earlier today. We've got the giving campaign, which is, let me just mention that we decided to, and maybe it's the wrong decision, but we decided to not do give to the max, unquote, because of the fees that they have and the control that they have of their data, and the cost to us. And we feel like with enough spreading of the word and our marketing and all that kind of stuff, we should be able to get as good or better results and keep more of our dollars from that. Okay, so don't prove me wrong. Donate and get other people to do so too. December 1st is when we're going to start having the extracurriculars ready to go. We have a pancake breakfast. That's the biggest thing really that's coming up we're most excited about. We chose to dial back how many restaurant nights there were per year, so that when we did a restaurant night or we did a gathering outside of school, more of you would come and the impact could be larger. And so the pancake breakfast is serving in a way to get together with the community. It's serving as a way to get to know the LAs, because the LAs are helping serve the food. We have a lot of volunteers who are helping as well. Eden Prairie Applebee's lets us take it over for 2 hours on a Saturday morning. They cook everything and we just need to serve it and make sure people are having a good time. Jenna Moretto is leading that from the 5th grade team. The 4th grade squad is also involved in that. And one of the things that they are asking for is volunteers to help. I do believe they have most of their positions filled for the volunteering, but they do have a thing on Parent Square to just double check, fill out your information, and they'll be able to help you out from there.
I think that closed.
It did close.
Yeah.
Okay, so good to know. So feel free to be ready to work the day of in case somebody calls in sick or whatever. But otherwise, just have a good time, right? You can come in at 8:15. You can stay till 10. You can come in at 8:45 or 9:45 and just have a smash and grab. Unfortunately, at 10 o'clock they kick us out because they start serving their regular crew. I think it was at 10:30 or 11, so they kind of overhaul things. But please do every effort you can to come to that pancake breakfast on Saturday, December 13th. Alex is here from the 2nd grade squad, and he and Junaid are leading the charge for our Dave & Buster's, both our fundraising and our restaurant night, which is on January 15th. Fun time last year. It was the first time we did it. We did it in the middle of a lot of things. It was really noisy, and we still made quite a bit of money. So with a little bit more care and promotion and so forth, we should be able to do super well with that. And this is the Dave & Buster's play cards is the only time we're asking for the community to like sell stuff to your friends and family, or to buy a thing for the straight purpose of half the money comes to ISLA. So be on the lookout for that information. Of course, our biggest thing is Fiesta. We'll talk more about that in a second, but we made $101,000 last year at Fiesta, which surpassed our previous record by about 10 grand. And the previous year to that was like 65. So we have hopefully turned the corner from that COVID kind of slump that was going on for a couple of years. And we'd love to match last year or beat it. It's going to require a lot of hands though. And we'll talk more about that in a second. And then we've got a repeat of the other things. So Spirit Store keeps going. Extracurriculars, there's a small window in April and May for what is it, 7 or 8 weeks, I think, something like that. And then the teacher supply kits, when you go ahead and say, I want to buy next grade's supply kit and not have to shop in the middle of the summer, a portion of that comes back to PTO. And that's something that we'd love your help in, like not just doing it, but also helping Elizabeth and whoever else manage it. Right. So I mentioned that we're trying to cut back on some stuff. So we had a list of things we used to do, and this year we're trying to cut some of that stuff out. So again, if we need it, we'll bring something back in the later part of the year. But we're doing our best to not have this year calendar raffles, Super Bowl squares, butter braids, and holiday shops and things like that that just sort of pop up. They've been effective, but they're usually $400 to $2,000. That adds up. But we're hoping by less frequent but bigger impact that we're able to more than replace not doing those types of things. And again, not feeling like every 2 weeks there's something to buy or something to fundraise for. Okay. All right. Pancake breakfast already mentioned. Those are the details. I put 3+ there. I haven't talked to Jenner yet to see if that's accurate, but at some level, the kids would probably be free, but we have to figure out what that age is. Don't quote me on that. But $10 for kids, $15 for adults. Again, the LAs are serving the food with a couple of volunteers. We'll also have some basket raffles. Some prizes. We did that last year and it worked out well. Added another like $800 or $900 to our fundraising effort. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And again, thanks to the 5th and 4th grade squads for doing that. If this is successful like it was last year, they want us back as much as every week. You know, like they want us to come as often as we want to do it. So this might be one of the things that we do again later in the year. So I tell you that to say, if you love it, like give us the feedback. If you don't love it, give us the feedback, because we always want to do things that are helpful and that you'll enjoy. All right. Again, Alex and Junaid are helping out with the Dave & Buster's deal. You'll see more information about this. We're not going to spend too much time on it tonight. But what's really cool is you buy a $10 or $20 play card, half of the money comes to PTO, which is pretty awesome. You're not paying extra for the play cards. We also get a stack, hopefully we'll get them again, a stack of free play for an hour that we can give out to people who participate in any sales, which is really cool. And then this will be one of 2 restaurant nights that we have scheduled so far in the second half of the year. They give us 20% for that. Restaurant nights are really about bringing the community together and having people connect and have fun. But it's nice when the place we go to also gives us a little bit of revenue back. Okay. Anything I missed on that, Alex, or any requests that you would like to make to the group?
Oh, yeah, I mean, just like you said, the cars are the same price, but it goes to PTO at 50% off it, and then it's a restaurant night, you get 20% from that, from any group out there, so it's a double.
Yeah, and we may need a little bit of volunteer help on like distributing the cards that are purchased. So look out for opportunities to help out, not just in the buying of the cards, but also in helping the logistics of that event. Okay. All right. Our biggest event of the year is Fiesta de la Primavera, and that's March 14th. So hold the date in your calendar. It is a Saturday. It is not spring break yet. It's not a time for you to escape to Mexico. I'm trying to think of the exact place, to Abby del Sol. Wait for another week or so. Abby is the champion of the beads, so I'm sure she's going to probably be there again. But we're going to be asking for a lot of volunteer support in this effort. And so you're going to hear from Joni, from myself, from the whole PTO. Please get involved. This is not an event that you just show up to and it magically has happened. It's happened because there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people that have helped out. These are sort of the categories of help that we need. We have people that go around to businesses. They either write a letter or they knock on the door, they show up and they say, would you love to donate to ISLA, Spanish Immersion School, blah, blah, blah. We have a letter that we've used in the past. We can revise in gathering those items up. We talk to community members that are either here or maybe they're alumni and they have something they can give to the silent auction. Some people have ability to have a bigger ticket item for a live auction item. We've had people do like sushi nights or paella nights and things like that, where they are able to get $2,000 to $4,000 on the auction for whatever that particular event is. So just that alone, we get like 100 things. I think it's like 150 items that are in the silent auction, right? Then we have the teachers put together things from their classrooms. The first grade has an art project that there's one thing that you can buy. It's really cool. Second grade, third grade, fourth grade, etc. And they're coveted pieces of art for people who have been through ISLA. Ask Leilani about that. She's really excited about the ones she got last year. We have business sponsorships. So being able to, again, connect with the people that you know. We know there's a lot of entrepreneurs in ISLA who will sponsor, but they don't need to be from ISLA. They can just be in the community. We can go out to different companies. And, Millen is, I hope, an inspiration for you to just pay attention to people's websites when they say corporate giving. Look at what they do. Some of them will say, ask us for money. We have money. Just ask us. right? Costco, once a year, you can say, I need money for this purpose. And they don't really tell you how much you can ask. They just say ask, but it can only be once. So different companies have that kind of stuff. And so we just need a group of people that are going after that kind of attitude, or that kind of goal. We're going to need people who put together or solicit community connections. Or great, they also have been called great gatherings in the past. So people who have a pool party at their house, and they say $30 a person per kid. Come in on June 15th or whatever. Come have a pool party. It could be just for a grade, or it could be for a large number of people. Some people turn that into a walk around Budaya-Makaska. Whatever it is, it's your creativity and inspiration and just thought that can put these things together. I think we had another 25 or 30 of those last year, and they bring in a lot of money because they don't cost anything to do, with the exception of some past experiences that have costs, which hopefully won't in the future. But it's like people having a good time. And in the summertime, especially, it's neat to connect with the families. I know you guys have done, did you host as well?
We hosted the wine tasting, but we hosted for the winners.
Right. You hosted for the winners, and you've also done like the Arepa nights. I think you've gone to those. So people who just know how to cook really good food, get 20 to 30 people together, have a good party in the summer on a patio. It's really cool. Marketing the event. This is going to take a lot of effort too, like making flyers and telling people about it. All that's important. Loading items and descriptions into the platform. Like every single item that's for sale, somebody has to go in and type or copy paste from someone else typing what the description is, loading up a photo, and deciding what the price is, deciding what the fair value is so that people can get their proper donation receipt. And I did a lot of that last year myself. I like to hand that off to some other people this year. But that alone takes a lot of time. So if you can't do things during the school day, but 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, like you want to, that's your volunteer window, pop some stuff in. We would appreciate the help from that. The day of, we get the space at like 9 a.m. and the party starts at 5:30, I think is when we usually start it. That whole day, helping we're at Bloomington Event Center, so helping the space become this beautiful experience. You'll see this decoration up top. That's done by the event. They do that. Everything else is pretty much done by our volunteers. Okay, we have like chair skirts we put on. The kids love to do that. So bring your kids, they'll love to do that. Setting up the auction table, you bring in the 150 silent auction items, sending them up on the table, putting the little placards on them. All that takes time. Being at the registration desk, checking people in, making sure that they know what's up, knowing how to bid, knowing how to, stretch their dollars, etc. And then during the event itself, we have people who are running around saying, hey, buy a bead so that you can win a prize. There's a wine pull. There's other types of games that happen during the event that helps the gala become the success that it is. So every one of those types of tasks is done by humans, and we need as many of you and many of you online to be involved with that. So be on the lookout for the sign-up forms about that. Some of it's going to require a more, before the end of the year, we'll be having people do stuff. Other stuff happens after the year turns over. Okay. All right. And again, but that is the biggest thing that we do, so it requires a lot of effort. Grade squads. This is the last kind of topic of the evening before we get to some of your questions. But this year's the first year we've done grade squads. And I think it's going well. I think it could go better because we're trying to figure out some stuff. And I know I could do a better job of helping grade squad leaders do their thing. And I know grade squad leaders can do better, like letting us know they need help. And so sometimes that works in both directions. And I think we're doing great for the time that we have. Joni, do you want to speak to this particular slide to start?
I can't.
You don't have to. I just wanted to, since you made it, I want to give you the opportunity if you want to.
Why not?
Come on.
Love the break. You guys are sitting here.
Joni Taylor, everybody.
Hi, guys. I'm Joni. I don't know. Hello. I don't know for those of you who've met me. I think I've met pretty much everyone here. And those that are at home listening, you too. I am also a first-time parent for a kindergartner, so just like Millen jumping in head first, trying to figure everything out as we go, learn as we go. So I thank you guys for learning with us. Yeah, so this is really just talking about being volunteers and kind of, you know, piggybacking on what Millen said, you know, you can give your time. If you can't give your time and you want to give your money, like either way, you know, it all kind of helps, comes full circle. Some people are really busy, or, you know, whether it's with their kids or work or both, everything, you know, or just they, you know, volunteering is not their thing, and that's great. That's fine. And then there's some of us, you know, that are able to kind of give and like to, you know, share and have fun with these projects, things like that. So whichever way, you know, that you want to contribute to this school, I think is great. And I think also ways that you can kind of get involved is just share your skill. If you have a certain trade, whether it's like photography or cooking, you know, any type of trade that you do, you know, you can share it with us. I'm sure we can utilize you in some way, kind of get you involved. Or if you're creative, you're really into like decorating, you're crafty, things like that. We encourage you to let us know, you know, if you have a special skill that you're good at and you want to get involved, let us know. Each of our lovely grade squad leaders are kind of heading the charge, but they need your guys' support as well. So making sure that we're all kind of supporting for those grade specific activities that they're taking on, you know, and just connecting with parents, getting to know people, and encouraging them to help, right? We're a community. We want to keep building on that community and get to know each other more. And then, you know, also ways that you can help, you know, and this, I feel like I'm just repeating a lot of the things that we're saying, but reaching out to local businesses, family-owned businesses, seeing, you know, new ideas that we can bring into the events and kind of help create these events that we have or these activities, and just improve what we're doing as well as what we can provide and share for our kids. That's the biggest thing. If you hear that someone wants to support and they're not really sure how to get involved, they can contact me. They can really contact anyone within the PTO, their grade squad leaders, and we'll help you get involved. You know, we don't want you to be scared, and we don't bite. We're friendly. We want to have fun, you know, so we want you guys to enjoy doing what we do, because that's why we do it, right? We're here to you know, really support our kids, making sure they're getting a great education, they're enjoying their time while they're in school, they're learning. And of us as adults, you know, it's nice to have that adult interaction, you know, meet like-minded people and work hard, have fun. So that's pretty much my spiel. Looks like Bob has the grade squad leaders linked up on the board. I'll let him take over. But again, you guys, I'm always here if you need anything. So
Thanks, Julie. Awesome. So I just wanted to make sure you knew who your grade squad leaders are. They are in Parent Square. You've probably already seen their posts because they have special access to share ideas with your grade. We are looking for still another first grade squad leader to join Allison, and a kinder to join Samantha. The grade squads that are doing really well and not feeling like they're doing too stressful of a thing, they have buddies. So please, if you're in the first or kinder, think about stepping up for that. You don't have to wait till you're in first or second grade. As Millen and Joni are showing, you can be involved right away. And if you are on the Heidi Estrada plan or the Amanda Smalling plan, you're going to be here for a while. Be involved early and often throughout the next decade. That's fantastic. All right, so in case you are wondering, like, what are we talking about with grade squads? Just as a quick refresher, I know we've been talking about this since the summer, but the idea is, instead of the PTO board, you know, controlling all the activities and then doing, you know, trying to get everybody to sign up for stuff, we have distributed the both responsibility and opportunities for leadership across the school. And so we want 2 grade squad leaders for each grade. If you are parent ambassador, it means that you are supporting a particular project, right? So like Alex is a grade squad leader, but Junaid, who is in the second grade, he is a parent ambassador for that particular project that they're working. So you pick a pet project And you're the leader of that, and you coordinate with the grade squad, you coordinate with the PTO board, and you make it happen. And all the activities that we've done this year are because of that happening. So these are the completed grade squad projects that we already did this year. They were taken on by members of the school. They were supported by the PTO board. Some of us got involved a lot or a little, depending on the event and what the needs were. But all of these happened because of the grade squad system. And if we didn't have it, some of these would not have happened. And that's why we did this. We've shifted over to that kind of a structure. We have more coming up, right? So we have projects like the pancake breakfast. We have the family community business directory, which actually is in progress. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs, and people are often saying, like, who's a photographer? And why not have an ISLA parent who's a photographer get some business, or a real estate agent, or a resort in the middle of the state? All these folks can, help out with each other. My secret reason for encouraging this is because if we encourage businesses to grow from our community, businesses will give back in our community through sponsorships and through donations to the Fiesta and things like that. So it's not so secret, but it is a back and forth that I think is good. Last year we had a holiday card display, so New Year's cards, any other holiday that's coming up in the next couple of weeks or next month. The whole entryway of ISLA is plastered with families' faces. So a grade squad is going to be taking that on, receiving the stuff and just getting it up there. We've got winter class parties. I was told today by two reputable sources, including Molly and Rihanna, that the winter class parties are minimal compared to the October class party, but there'll be other class parties through the year that grade squads will do for their own grades. Serving lunch, the second graders just crushed December already. There's only 3 slots, maybe not even that anymore. January is going to be kinder, and then February is going to be the 4th grade. Now, everybody can do anytime lunch, but we're trying to get people to do a specific lunch for their grade, just so they get to connect with other parents of their kids' friends. That way, they just get more connected with people they might not have otherwise gotten to know. We've got our Dave and Buster stuff we've already talked about as well. So a couple quick reminders for your grade squad leaders in the room or online or watching the recording. Number one, please use Parent Square for all the things. I know it's not the perfect solution, but it is a good solution that is, if we can be consistent with it, keeps getting better. And especially for RSVPs and signups. It's okay to, if some people have used other stuff in the past, but going forward, do try to use RSVPs and signups within Parent Square, because it helps Joni, it helps the rest of the school, like know, do we need more volunteers here? Are we, on a crunch? It also gets the updates, if you have the notification set. So for visibility, consistency, and tracking, we want to be able to see this activity had this many people, and this person, volunteered this much time. Please do run your project plan for your grade squad projects past the PTO committee. So that's for a couple reasons. Number one, we want you to have autonomy in doing the project the way you want to do it, but sometimes you'll start to do something and we already have resources in the closet, or we have budget for it, and you might not have known that we have budget for it, or we have a template, or we have some other kind of thing, or it's going to step on the toes of a different group that you don't know what they're doing. So please run your projects past us just to make sure things are good, and that'll help out with not having confusion. Do get ahead of the class party situation. We have half the staff feels like it's new this year, so they are going to learn from the way you operate as grade squad leaders on how to help them out, and to not rely on a single person, but on this team approach, right? So keep doing that, and just once a month, send a note to your teachers. What's coming up, what field trips are coming up we don't know about yet. That is really going to be helpful. And we're growing with them in this process, some of them more eagerly than others. Alex?
Well, we did with second grade, was me and Lisa met with all of our second grade teachers during the day. They gave us all 4 field trips and all 4 parties. So we knew what to plan ahead of the season. They didn't give us exact dates, but we asked them how to handle field trips and how parties they're handling field trips, etc. So we just got a good base on what's their expectation of us and what we expect from that. So that's
Perfect.
A good footing for.
And they are crushing second grade.
Second grade is crushing for sure.
Yeah.
And to reiterate that, what that's really about is grade squad leaders, you are empowered to go talk to the teachers and say, what do you need? Here's how we're gonna help you. You don't have to wait for them to ask because they're teachers. I was a teacher once for a decade. I will, as you can imagine for any of you as well, sometimes it waits to the last minute, right? You getting ahead of it is just saying like, what do you need? When do you need it? A 2-week buffer, even, you don't need to know a specific day necessarily right away, really helps out. And then I think the teachers feel really supported in that process.
And the teachers honestly didn't know about, the second grade, they said they didn't know how it's working, so we just defined it there. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to remind you that with grade squad projects, we emphasize the idea that this grade squad's doing it, but you don't only have to have your grade doing the thing. It's just you're responsible for getting it to happen. So especially for those bigger projects, we tried to give projects to 2 grades if it warranted it, but you still can solicit volunteers from the entire building.
Yeah, what we think work is kind of talk to the grade squads that are putting it on first and kind of getting those people the opportunity to really help since it's supposed to be put on by those grades. But then also because different events mean things to different people, right? And just a lot of people like to help out and do everything just to be a part of the community. So we don't want to take that from people. We're not saying, oh, only this grade can do it. So it's just like, we want to be able to share it with everybody and open it to the community, just kind of give those grades the opportunity first and then, open it up so everybody can get involved that wants to be involved.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also easier to ask the people because you're hanging out with them at the playground after pickup because your kids are playing together and say, hey, I'm involved in this project. I'd love for you to jump in as well. The last thing about grade squads for reminders is we do need you to use the tax exempt status of our school if you want to get reimbursed the full amount of what you might pay for something. So we allocate budget for many events. Some events there might not be budget for, but if you are getting reimbursed from us, you are going to want to have that tax exempt status to your benefit. Now, you may not know what I'm talking about, so you can connect with me, you can connect with Arena. We have a document that has our signatures and stuff on it. I think it's got Rice's signature on it specifically, has our tax ID number. You print it off, you give it to the store that you're buying from and say, do you do tax exempt? Most of them will say yes. And then you hand them that paper, they will verify, and then they might even already have it on file, but you never know. And then you don't have to pay the taxes for it. Things like fruit and other food that's not prepared, there's no tax on that. So it's not as big of a deal. But if you buy anything packaged then or prepared, then you're going to have a tax on it. Did you have a question, Brian?
Yeah, does that change every?
It's the same ID every year. And I don't know, do you know this? Do we have to ask the same company again to renew it? I don't think we do.
I think it depends on the business, because some of them want that year's whatever, but
Yeah.
some of them don't care, they'll keep it on file, so it depends on the
I
company.
think it depends how they file. Like I've
Yeah.
been to places where they're like looking through it in like a box.
Right.
Seriously.
Yeah. Like one of those old,
Yeah.
filing tab
I mean,
things.
you work for a nonprofit. So not here.
Is that something you could just put on wherever you have all of your documents that people go look at, that somebody can just go, I need this document?
I need to check with Arena and Risa about the public availability of that document because I don't think we want to get it abused. But we can figure that out. Because somebody could come to our website and just say, oh, I'm gonna go to a store and do tax exempt, but I'm not actually part of that.
Isn't that a public document that's also on the government website too? So
Our ID number is, but not our signed tax exempt paper, just something to print out.
I don't know if that's-
I think it's a great idea.
I looked it up and got it last
I think it's a good idea. I would defer to
year. Okay.
our treasurers for that. I did want to give Abby a quick shout out because we've gone from 3 abuelos to like 30, 50 registered abuelos.
Baylo school tour, they do. We had 21 people sign up.
That's amazing. So 21 abuelos signing up for a tour of the school.
These are
And
new abuelos, not on my list.
oh, fantastic. So they're ready to rock and roll.
There.
My-
I will also mention that Abby's daughter is in fourth grade, or granddaughter is in fourth grade. So we need an heir apparent to start showing up. Or,
Even when she does.
okay, very good. I was gonna say, or we need somebody to help Abby adopt another grandchild into her family so she can stick around. Well, thank you for that, Abby. And I just wanted to mention that if any of you have parents that are out of state, but they're gonna come visit, get them involved for the day they're here, for half a day, have them help serve lunch. We haven't quite, I think my mom served once. But the idea is, just tap into that because it's a really fun way for them to contribute to your kids' school. And, they have a good time and they have that, connection, especially if they're retired and want to do some fun stuff.
She volunteered at DDLM this year and she was like, I will schedule my trips around events.
Yeah, she ran Loteria in the thing. So that was a lot of information that we shared with you. I'd love to open it up to you guys for any questions you may have, any feedback you may have. We also have more noshing things over here that I want you to be able to get to. So I would first want to get any questions you might have before we might break off into connection. Oh.
We have a new co-grade squad leader for fourth grade. And Raker is stepping up. So
Awesome.
So that's
For
exciting.
the three.
For grade for first grade.
For first grade.
Yeah.
So Marin, awesome. Excellent. Marin, thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you for that update. Breaking news. Love it.
As it comes in.
Other questions? And if anybody's on chat, they can monitor the chat to see if there's anything that's popped up. Therese.
Just a comment. Well, given Alice's success in being an awesome grade squad leader, is there a plan to have like grade squads get together and share best practices?
I think that's a great idea.
I would love that.
There's not a current plan. Joni and I were scheming the other day about how we can get a little bit more of that kind of thing to cross-pollinate.
Yeah.
Our first priority is helping out a couple of projects, but I love that idea a lot. And I think every grade squad has learned something cool that they can share, and every grade squad's probably run into a challenge where they're like, how would you handle this? So I think that's a really fantastic idea. Put it on the board.
Like how soon? 'Cause the longer you wait,
Yeah, I will defer to Joni on getting that together.
I mean, let's get through Thanksgiving maybe first,
Okay.
and then we can look for early summer. Yes, Abby?
And could I suggest or request that we find some way that grade squads can reach out to abuelos for the grandparents of the grades? Because right now I can't quite figure out how to do it on Parents Square. So maybe grade squad leaders just remember, reach out to me so I can send notices or something. Do the best I can.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So one of the challenges that we've been running into is reminding folks when they do a post, like the grade squad leaders, checking the default is parents and staff. And then you also want to make sure you click guests.
Yes.
But the abuelos may not see the grade. They may not be actually attached to that grade in Parent Square. And so this is a note for you, Molly. If we can get the grade squad leaders also able to post to abuelos, that might help. Or we have to figure out some other way. But connecting with Abby, at least as the short term of email Abby, wwg at outlook.com might be the best way.
Because I wonder if like a fun grade squad leader activity would be to like put Abby's phone in there, like contact in their phone number and send Abby a sweet text.
There you go. I like that.
Abby, you're amazing. And then she has their contact information.
They probably have most of them.
Any other topics or feedback or questions? All right. Well, I will entertain a motion to close our meeting in just a moment. First, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Molly and Heidi for sharing what they're doing what they're up to at the school, and for each of you for being here. For those of you online as well, and if you happen to watch this replay, being here is a great first step. Being involved as consistent as you can be, donating your time, donating your money is super appreciated. And again, because we are in the middle of the very beginning of a really strong November giving campaign, please do spread the word. We have flyers that you can actually share with people if you want, like digitally, or you can just send people to the giving page. But if you have ideas on how to make what we're doing impact your lives even more strong, please do reach out to us. All right, so now I will entertain a motion to close our meeting today. And do I hear a second? Great. So all in favor of closing our meeting and enjoying some more food, say aye. All opposed? Excellent. So thanks, and meeting adjourned. Our next meeting is January the 21st. Did I put that on the next slide, like a smart person? Oh, I have actually one more question for you. January 21st is our next community meeting. So our executive committee is going to be meeting the first week of December. So if you have anything that you want us to talk about and discuss, please connect with us before that. But our next community meeting is January 21st. Okay. The last bullet here, I know we've adjourned, but this is kind of informal. The talent show. So the talent show is a thing. It was awesome last year. It might be more than we want to bite off this year. So I want to entertain your thoughts because I have some people emailing me, can my kid sign up already and be on the stage? But we need people to run it, and I think it would take away from Fiesta too much. So I'm not in favor of doing it, but I want to hear from the group.
Just in terms of workload, taking away from Fiesta, not like money.
So
No,
Talent Show was a second grade project, along with third grade. And we've been emailing about some what Sonic in place on that. And we know some number, I don't care about the numbers, how much it costs, or I was trying to bring up the cost for Sonic, or do we want to try and move it to the school, or should we have this event as well?
I would entertain that conversation, but I don't want the cost to be a thing.
Okay.
I want it to be, if the cost wasn't a problem, because I don't think it really is. It's the workload to me that's the problem. That I would need to feel comfortable in it to address from the
The
group.
other one that we have a potential second grade parent to lead it. She's an opera singer. She's done lots of theater stuff. But for her availability, she wants to do it. Her availability would move in the event in May. That's something we can discuss.
That's not a terrible.
That's not a terrible idea. Because we don't really have anything in April, May. Yeah.
I mean, if it was like early May, I feel like by end of May, you start to sort of like lose people to like summer stuff, in my opinion, but obviously the person running it needs to.
Right. We did have someone who ran it last year. She would rather not be responsible this year to take it on. She's given us great resources and wants to help as she can, but she's not going to likely be able to be like run a show or anything like that. The venue doesn't, the cost of the venue is not that prohibitive. It's a factor. I don't want it to be a non-factor.
Super cheap.
Yeah, it was under $1,000. It was under, and it wasn't a fundraiser, just a community event. So I think we could try to nudge our way into some community money for that in other places. But it's about the time commitment that it takes to run it. We had 30 performances, a bunch of kids, to really running. You have rehearsals, you have other stuff. So that's my vibe for it. But I like the idea of maybe doing it in May, or at least for now, it's not March 5th.
Yeah, and if we have people that are comfortable, with really kind of taking charge, and setting up, so we know. It's together.
Does it run into any issues with like April concerts and May concerts?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was thinking from last year, like, but that was like later in May, like it felt like all of a sudden later in May, there was like tons of stuff.
Yep. And there's almost a full week of nose class
Yeah.
after Memorial Day. This year we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
And but like starting the 20th last year was the 14th was the 5th grade band concert, but the 20th was exhibition. There was a lot starting like mid.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, just a thought, like, is there a way to combine the concerts and the talent show in a, like, just one
That'd be cool.
presentation.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
That sounds fun.
It does sound long, but it sounds possible.
You don't allow as many talents.
Yeah.
It would.
Somebody keep Kira off the stage, is all I'm saying.
The same person cannot do more than 3 times. Cool.
A lot of good things about it. Last year I wasn't able to go, but maybe the second grade squad can throw a community meeting for interested people.
Yeah, I've heard talks of other people that have liked it. Yes, they did run the sentiment of maybe there's kid stuff, talents. I wasn't there, so.
Like they want more kid stuff or
Yeah,
they want more
kids,
adult
yeah,
stuff?
more kids. Well,
Yep. Okay.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great time. It was really cool, but I just think that the workload to make it awesome again, when we have, other things that might be bigger, might be worth talking about. So good to hear your feedback on that. So we'll take that under advisement, as a board and then as a second and third grade squad moving forward. Cool. So we've already adjourned, but have some food, chat with each other, chat with me, whoever. Thanks for being here, everybody.